There are two types of INFJ, those who are born and those who are forged. The first one is a victim of their own empathy, trapped in cycles of betrayal and disappointment. The second is the Sigma INFJ, unbreakable, strategic, and impossible to manipulate. The INFJ you were told to be is a lie. Society painted this picture of the pure empath, the selfless healer, the person who gives and gives until there's nothing left. They convinced you that your sensitivity is your superpower, that being everyone's unpaid therapist is your purpose. But that version of you is fundamentally broken. An operating system designed to drain you while everyone else gets filled up. Today, we're talking about how you kill that lie and become the version of yourself that life can't break. This is the psychological transformation where unlimited empathy becomes strategic power, where your sensitivity stops being a vulnerability and becomes your greatest weapon. Before we start, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our weekly deep dives into the world of personality types. And if you are looking to achieve a deeper understanding of yourself and your personality type, click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. The Born INFJ, your original programming. Let's start with who you were before life taught you better. The Born INFJ operates in what I call unlimited empathy mode. You feel everything, absorb everyone's emotions, and genuinely believe that if you just love hard enough, care deeply enough, you can fix the broken people around you. It's like having emotional boundaries made of tissue paper. You're the friend who drops everything when someone needs you. It doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m. or if you're experiencing your own crisis. Someone calls and says they need you and you're there, no questions asked. You become everyone's unpaid therapist, their emotional dumping ground, their go-to person when life gets messy. Here's what makes this so dangerous. You don't just help people. You take on their pain as if it were your responsibility. Someone's going through a breakup, and suddenly you're carrying their heartbreak. A family member has financial problems, and you're losing sleep over their debt. A coworker gets passed over for a promotion, and you feel their disappointment in your chest like it's your own failure. The Born INFJ has this fatal flaw. You see potential in everyone, even when they have repeatedly shown you who they really are. That friend who always cancels at the last minute, you make excuses for them. The romantic partner who takes your kindness for granted, you convince yourself they'll change. The family member who only calls when they need something, you tell yourself that's just how they show love. You give second chances like you're handing out free samples at the grocery store. Third chances, fourth chances, because maybe this time will be different. Perhaps if you just explain yourself better, love them more deeply, and show them more patience, they'll finally see your worth and treat you right. This programming runs so deep because society reinforces it constantly. They call you the caregiver, the nurturer, the one who holds everyone together. They praise your self-sacrifice like it's a virtue. They tell you that putting others first makes you a good person, that your worth comes from how much you can give to others. But what they don't tell you is the cost. The exhaustion that seeps into your bones from carrying everyone else's emotional baggage. The resentment that builds when you realize you're always the giver, never the receiver. The slow erosion of your own identity as you become whoever other people need you to be. The Born INFJ attracts takers like a magnet. Narcissists, energy vampires, people who can sense your unlimited empathy from across the room and know exactly how to exploit it. They love bomb you with attention, make you feel special and chosen, then slowly drain you dry while convincing you that their problems are your problems to solve. You become addicted to fixing people because it gives you purpose and makes you feel needed. But here's the thing about addiction. It never actually satisfies you. It just keeps you coming back for more. The forging process. When reality breaks you open. Then it happens. The moment that changes everything. Maybe it's the friend you defended for years who stabs you in the back without a second thought. Perhaps it's the romantic partner you gave everything to who cheats and then blames you for not being enough. Maybe it's the family member who exploits your generous nature one too many times, then gets angry when you finally say no. Whatever it is, it's not just another disappointment. This is the betrayal that cracks your world wide open and forces you to see what's been happening all along. Your introverted intuition, that powerful pattern recognition system, finally kicks into overdrive. All those red flags you ignored, all those warning signs you explained away, suddenly form a crystal clear picture. You start seeing the manipulation you've been blind to. They used your empathy against you, turning your caring nature into their personal advantage. You realize you weren't helping people. You were enabling them. You weren't being kind. You were being used. This is where the withdrawal begins. Not because you've stopped caring. That's impossible for an INFJ. But because you finally understand that caring has a cost, and not everyone deserves that price. You start pulling back energy that was freely given to people who never appreciated it. The door slam becomes your new superpower. That famous INFJ door slam that everyone talks about? It transforms from an emotional reaction into a strategic weapon. You learn to cut people off without guilt, without explanation, without looking back. Does someone show you who they are through their actions? You believe them now. The first time. You develop what I call strategic empathy. That deep understanding of people doesn't fade, it becomes sharper. But now you choose when and how to deploy it. You're no longer giving your insights away for free to people who don't value them. You're not absorbing everyone's emotions just because you can feel them. Solitude becomes your sanctuary instead of something you endure. You discover that being alone is infinitely better than being with the wrong people. In that quiet space, you reconnect with yourself without the constant noise of other people's needs drowning out your own voice. This transformation feels like death, because in many ways it is. The old version of you, the people pleaser who said yes to everything, who carried everyone's burdens, who believed in everyone's potential. That person has to die for the new you to be born. You stop trying to fix people. This might be the hardest lesson of all. You finally accept that you can't save everyone, and more importantly, it's not your job to try. People have to want to change and do the work themselves. Your love, no matter how pure or persistent, cannot heal someone who doesn't want to be healed. The forging process strips away everything that isn't essential. Every naive belief, every boundary you should have had but didn't, every excuse you made for people who didn't deserve your understanding. What remains is refined, strengthened, and unbreakable. The Sigma INFJ, your upgraded operating system. What emerges from this psychological fire is something extraordinary. The Sigma INFJ operates on a completely different level than the born version. You've kept all your gifts, but you've also added armor, boundaries, and strategic thinking that make you nearly impossible to manipulate or drain. You become self-reliant to your core. While regular INFJs might seek validation or connection to feel complete, you've learned to be your own source of strength. You've discovered that the only person you can truly depend on is yourself, and you've made peace with that reality. Independence becomes your identity. You're a lone wolf by choice, not circumstance. Sure, you could have friends and social connections if you wanted them. You're still charming when you need to be, still capable of deep conversation. But you prefer quality over quantity. And honestly, you're just fine with your own company. The Sigma INFJ operates entirely outside social hierarchies. You don't care about fitting in or climbing any social ladder. You're not trying to be the alpha or compete for status. You've simply opted out of the whole game because you see it for what it is: a waste of energy. Your mystique becomes intentional. Where a regular INFJ might overshare, hoping for connection, the Sigma version reveals very little. You're comfortable being misunderstood. In fact, you prefer it, because it keeps people at a safe distance until they prove they deserve access to your inner world. You've developed emotional detachment as a skill. You can care about someone without being consumed by their problems. You can empathize without absorbing. You can love without losing yourself. This is master-level emotional intelligence that only comes through hard-won experience. Trust becomes something people have to earn through consistent actions over time. You're no longer impressed by words, promises, or potential. Actions are the only currency you accept. Does someone say they care about you? Show me. Someone claims they've changed? Prove it over months, not days. The Sigma INFJ has learned to harness the power of solitude. That alone time isn't just recharging anymore. It's where you do your best thinking, your most creative work, and your most profound healing. It's where you process everything without new input, constantly disrupting your peace. You become an observer first, participant second. You watch, you analyze, you test before you engage. Where you once dove headfirst into connections, you now dip a toe in the water first. If the temperature isn't right, you walk away, without apology or explanation. When you do choose to let someone into your inner circle, they get loyalty and devotion that's almost unmatched. But getting to that level, that's like winning the lottery. It's rare, precious, and not given lightly. This transformation isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming wise. The world needs Sigma INFJs who've been forged through experience and emerged stronger. Your journey from unlimited empathy to strategic power isn't a betrayal of who you are. It's the fulfillment of who you were always meant to become. You've learned that protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's a matter of survival. Setting boundaries doesn't mean it's necessary. Choosing yourself isn't wrong, it's overdue. The Sigma INFJ shows others what healthy looks like, what self-respect in action actually means. Subscribe for more insights into the psychology of personal transformation and the hidden power of the INFJ mind. If you want to continue the journey to understanding yourself or an INFJ in your life, click either of the following videos where we continue to unlock the secrets of the INFJ personality type.